listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting. Broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond. Listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting. Broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. And I was talking to our guest this hour, B.J. Booth, who is known for his website that he takes such a great care of, UFOCasebook.com, about the aliens and how some people really don't believe in aliens, or some people just, cringe. And I watch TV, and when I'm watching what's going on in the political arena in the United States, whether it's Democratic or Republican, I think that the aliens are the worst, are the last of anybody's fears.
I agree with you.
My guest this hour is Billy J. Booth, and Billy was born in Central Texas in 1948. When TV came to his family in the 50s, he was immediately exposed to some of the classic sci-fi programs of the era. Among these were his three favorites, The Twilight Zone, Science Fiction Theater, and One Step Beyond. These and other programs and movies set the tone for his lifelong interest in the mysteries of science. When a local newspaper carried the story of Betty and Barney Hill abduction in the 60s, his interest in UFOs began. He started to wonder, could there be life in the universe outside of planet Earth? Well, we're still trying to figure that out, get that definitively, but 70% of the population believes so. It seems that only the people in Washington and the capitals of the rest of the world are bound and determined to keep a truth embargo going when everybody else knows that they're here. Joining me now is Billy J. Booth. And Billy, why do you think the governments are still, carrying on this truth embargo?
Well, I think that most countries, including our own, are really controlled by a small group of people at the top. Not really small, but as compared to the populace they are. They believe, and I think you'll agree with me, that they feel like that they should decide what information is given to the general public. And I think that the UFO alien subject is one of those that they feel like they better handle that and not let us know about it for a number of reasons. It might create a panic in the streets or sell-off of all the stocks, the closing of banks, and have an effect on religion. But they feel like it's something better kept to a small group of people, and that we should remain in the dark on it.
I don't know, Billy. With all the reports that are coming in around the world, the great work that Stephen Bassett is doing with Paradigm Research, the work that you're doing, and other people who are maintaining credible websites, it seems fruitless, for God's sake, for the governments to think that they can actually get away with this much longer.
Well, I agree with that, and I keep thinking one of these days maybe they're going to break the news to us. They feel like, the time they just can't wait anymore. But they do try to control that information, and of course their best excuse for everything is denial. No, that didn't really happen, or they find a way to explain it away. We're at the anniversary of the Phoenix Lights case, 19 years. And, they tried to explain that away, that was flares and so forth. But, there were people on the ground, not just one or two, but many, who saw large triangle crafts fly over their house and neighborhood at a very low altitude, and that can't be flares. They just write the whole thing off as being, it was military flares. That's what those lights were in the sky. That's as far as they go. But they won't go on and try to deal with the individuals who saw the objects up close and personal.
Yeah. So many people have seen so many things. I was speaking to Charles Hall earlier tonight. And when you listen to Charles, when you listen to his credentials, when you listen to his story,
there's just, I don't know how anyone with common sense could deny that we have been visited and are still being visited. There's just absolutely too much evidence. You've got individual reports, you've got photographs. Of course, that is another subject. Some of those can be created on a computer, and videos, and some of them are pretty remarkable. And I just don't know. Of course, they don't deal with things on a case-by-case basis.
Billy, I hate to do this, Billy, but I've got to take a short break. We'll be right back. Exonation, BJ Booth is our special guest. www.ufocasebook.com, and we'll be back on the other side of the short break. Don't go away. Don't get abducted. We're coming back. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold. You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Wilda Wiecka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we will weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Wilda Wiecka, and the Science of Magic right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Starr began to demonstrate a metaphysical connection to the spirit world as a little girl. Her family noticed the connection, but it was a great-grandmother who told the family that Linnea was indeed gifted. The great-grandmother, who was also gifted, felt that Linnea had indeed inherited these attributes. It has been noticed that oftentimes such things are passed down through the generations. Linnea was also born with a caul, a thin white membrane across a newborn's face. Legend has it that if the baby is born with this caul, the child will have second sight, or what we call psychic abilities. Linnea Starr does past, present, and future, and has the gift of prophecy. It is written within scriptures that if you are able to give factual information, and prophecies indeed come true, the gift indeed comes from the divine realm. Linnea Starr does large interactive groups as well as private gatherings. For more information on Linnea Starr or to contact Linnea for a one-on-one consultation, visit her website at www.linneastar.com. That's www.linneastar.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. BJ Booth is our guest. His website is www.UFOCasebook.com. Billy, let me ask you, have you ever seen a UFO?
No, actually, I have not myself. I had one occasion where I thought maybe I had, but later it was explained as a distant helicopter. So I have not myself. However, I do know a lot of people who have seen them that I believe their reports were very credible and compelling.
What, in your opinion?
I've heard a lot of first-hand reports of people.
Billy, what is the one UFO case that to you is proof beyond a doubt, without actually seeing the evidence yourself, that we are being visited?
Well, it's hard to just say one, but the 1942 so-called Battle of Los Angeles was one. Of course, the Roswell case was one. The Lubbock Lights was another great case. It seems just no way to debunk it, really. Just for a couple, another case in 1957 in Levelland, Texas, there were a lot of UFO landings on the roads there. Now, that's a really, really great case, too. If you haven't read that, you should. If you go over to my site and just look at the case files in 1957, and you can read about that. The Betty and Barney Hill abduction case, I think, is without a doubt a real abduction. I have no doubt about that case whatsoever. The Exeter, New Hampshire sightings were fabulous. It was the subject of a book by John G. Fuller, where policemen witnessed UFOs hovering so close they could almost reach up and touch them.
Wow.
That's another great case. Now, Kecksburg is I'm not real sure about that one yet, because I think that there could have been that could have been a Russian satellite that came down. In 52, we had the sightings over the Capitol.
Yeah.
That's one that's very hard for someone to debunk, I think. And then the Falcon Lake encounter of the McConnell case up in Canada is another great one, or one of the very best, really. I think that the Buffalo Ledge abduction in '68 is another really good case. Near impossible to debunk it. The evidence is so good on it. Several eyewitness accounts on that one. And they just go on and on. But, I think the Phoenix Lights and the Hill case and Bentwaters in 1980 in Great Britain is another case that still gets a lot of discussion these days. So there are a lot of them.
Billy, I talked briefly about when your family got a TV in the 50s. But besides that, what got you interested in the subject of UFOs and aliens?
Yeah, I really don't know. It just seemed to me like a great mystery, and it was something that just kind of hit me like, I really wonder about that. Now, I was a normal kid. I watched cartoons and played ball and things like that. But that was just something that really caught my attention, because I always felt like I like to go out and look up at the stars, just how big this the Milky Way is. And it seems a little foolish to think to me that we're the only place that has intelligent beings on it. And so I kind of always looked for new information about it. Of course, back then there wasn't a lot. A rare newspaper story maybe, and then magazines, and a lot of those are like tabloid things, and you really didn't know whether to believe those or not. But I'd read them anyway, because it was something. And I just wondered about it.
Exonation, B.J. Booth is our special guest this hour, www.ufocasebook.com. What was your first exposure to an actual UFO case, Billy?
Well, I think in print, it was when I saw the headlines, it's probably in 63 or 4. When about the Hill abduction, when that happened, it didn't immediately appear in newspapers and so forth. That happened in 61, so it's probably, I would say, late 63 or so before that, details of that incident came to be published in newspapers and magazines and things like that. So that would have probably been my first exposure to a real case, was Betty and Barney Hill.
What was it about the Betty and Barney Hill case that you found so compelling, so believable?
Well, I think that number one was the kinds of people that they were. She was a teacher. He worked for the Postal Service. They were well respected. They had a lot of friends and things like that. And they didn't just go around telling fanciful tales. People believed them, and I'm sure it was very difficult for them to even come out with this, and they didn't for a time till they got with the psychiatrist and went through regressive hypnosis. and details began to come out. Although they knew something strange had happened to them even before the hypnosis details were revealed. And at first they didn't give each one tell the one what the other one was reporting in their hypnosis. But finally they did, and they realized that, it wasn't just a dream or nightmare that one of them had, that they had both seen and been involved in the same thing, taken aboard the craft, experiments performed on them, and so forth. And to me, I just believe all the evidence in that case, and it was investigated by well-known investigators of the time and researchers, and it became just very well known, and of course it was made into a made-for-TV movie, and there's been books written about it and so forth. So it holds its own to be some 50-year-old case or more. It's still talked about today. I get questions about it a time or two a week, even, today even.
You and I were discussing very briefly about the Phoenix lights. How could there be so much denial about the Phoenix lights with so many photographs, so much video, the personal eyewitnesses? How could they actually just keep on saying, well, you know what, it was flares?
Well, that's a really good question, and I think it just goes back to them not wanting to admit that there were craft in the area there that were not of this earth, and they can't explain it, and that makes our technology look weak compared to what they were seeing there in the air. And the only thing really they can do is deny and hope people forget about it and just say, oh, well, yeah, it had to be flares. It couldn't really be an alien spaceship. But there's no doubt in my mind that it was. And, you even have new witnesses come forward today on that case that, were afraid or for other reasons, job or something like that, just couldn't come forward because of the ridicule and possibly trouble at work or, their friends ridiculing them or something like that.
Billy, what about...
I don't know how. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I remember the early days of ufology. People would talk about the men in black. And yet today, you very rarely hear anything about men in black.
No, you don't. And I think it's because just about everybody has got cameras, at least on their phones. A lot of people, even have a lot of video equipment that's for public use. It's, less expensive these days and easier to get a hold of.
Right.
And I think that a lot of that is because they're afraid they're going to actually be photographed or taped or something like that. But there are still reports today of people who see something and then they're approached by something similar or men similar to the so-called men in black, where they're threatened or told to be quiet or asked to sign some, a failure to disclose and that sort of thing. But it still happens. But back here in the 50s and 60s, it was easier for them to get away with it. We had more of a just kind of innate fear of the government, and they came and told you to do something, you did it, and you were afraid of the repercussions if you didn't.
Billy, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Great talking to you. Exonation, our guest this hour is B.J. Booth. His website is www.ufocasebook.com. That's www.ufocasebook.com. And Billy and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, you can always go to www.xzoneradiotv.com. Listen to the show Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. until midnight. And the rest of the time, we play the best of the X Zone, so you can get your X Zone fixed 24/7, 365. And Season 1 of the X Zone TV show is available in its entirety without any commercials at www.xzonetv.com. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. BJ Booth and I return on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Thomas Jefferson was a Burgess of 27 when he met Martha Wales Skelton, a 22-year-old widowed heiress who was fondly called Patty by her family. They were married on January the 1st, 1772, and they took up residence in a cabin on the building site on top of a Virginia mountain that Thomas had named Monticello. As Thomas and Patty slowly built their first version of the great house at Monticello, the Revolutionary War was heating up. Patty, with difficulty, bore 5 children, but only 2 girls survived. Thomas's political career developed to the point where he was often away from home, but after he authored and signed the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia, he resolved never again to leave his wife. He was elected the governor of Virginia, just as that state became the Revolution's last battleground. The Revolutionary War ended in 1781, and Thomas gladly retired altogether to my family, my farm, and my books. But Patty continued to want to bear her treasured husband a son, and late in the summer of 1782, she died of kidney failure at the age of 33, 4 months after having borne yet another girl. Thomas was so devastated by her death that he never remarried. He mourned her for the rest of his life, even as he helped to frame the peace in France and then became the first Secretary of State, the second Vice President, and the third President of the United States. This story is true. Thomas Jefferson was such an obsessive letter writer and record keeper that we know where he was and what he was doing nearly every day of his adult life. Every significant thing he says in My Thomas comes from his contemporary writings. My Thomas by Roberta Grimes is now available at Barnes & Noble, Costco, Target, Books A Million, Hudson Booksellers, Kmart, Walmart, Sam's Club, Walgreens, CVS, and online at Amazon.com. You can visit Roberta Grimes online at www.robertagrimes.com.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State-certified occupational school, training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com.
Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerrean intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earth woman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com. You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Annie Callahan, dedicated to negotiating a position for Earth within the Daguerrean Coalition, had trained for 3 years to become an Earth ambassador. Yet, the very eve of her arrival at the capital ruling planet, she is claimed as destined mate to an oversized, mating-maddened vamp who swears he will never release her. Lord Aztaran, king of the Macian sector, has waited over 900 years for his destined mate. Having found her as an alpha vamp, he is unable to relinquish Annie, virtually holding her hostage until he can claim her. Yet Macians cannot survive without their mate's love. How could he strip her of her citizenship, her ambassadorship, and her freedom and expect to win her heart? With All That I Am by Kahira O'Donnell is the latest book in this exciting series, The Daguerrean Chronicles, guaranteed to keep readers coming back for more. With All That I Am by Kahira O'Donnell is available on Amazon.com and KahiraO'Donnell.com. You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Welcome back, everyone. BJ Booth is our special guest this hour. www.UFOCasebook.com. Billy, have you noticed an increase in your website traffic since the X-Files have come back on?
Yes, I have, and I suspected that too. You know, that's one show that's, I guess you could say, science fiction that I think a lot of it is based on actual cases, or at least they use actual cases, as a premise
Yeah.
for certain episodes. Oh, yes, there has been an increase since then. There sure has.
Why do you think, Billy, there's such a following when it comes to UFOs, when it comes to extraterrestrials, when it comes to Bigfoot, any mystery? It seems that, it's not a flash in the pan. It's here to stay, and it's growing.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that. It's just something that I think intrigues something within us about the unknown. Is it possible that Bigfoot really exists? And you think, well, no, common sense tells you they would have had a body or skeleton or something by now. But then you start looking at some of the photographs and videos, and especially the eyewitness accounts. I mean, you can't deny it. You have to admit that something is happening that sane people are seeing, and that's true of UFOs too. And a lot of people who follow UFOs probably wouldn't tell you that they do, although things are a little bit more open now about it. But, the little green man and all that kind of stuff, people make jokes about it, but they want to know more about it, though.
Yeah, with all the different movies out, not today, but going back in time, E.T., Contact, Independence Day. What did these do for the UFO genre?
Oh, something like that can do more than you can do in a year, advertising and so forth. It just brings it to the public view, and it makes it available to everyone, and it gives the suggestion that this is either real or this could really happen, and it gets people to wondering about it, and they have a lot of questions, and it's just very, very interesting to people to want to know more about it. And the movies, bring it to the big screen, and so many more people will go see a movie than they would read UFO reports and things like that. And it makes it all seem so real, even those that are strictly sci-fi. Still, it brings it to you, like Close Encounters did. That made a huge difference back in the mid-'70s when it came out. And being produced by someone that was so well-known, like Spielberg, so forth, good actors in it that were known, so forth, and it gives a certain amount of credibility to it that people, they begin to think, well, this might be real.
What about the Travis Walton case, Fire in the Sky?
Yeah, that has always been one of my favorites. I believe that Travis is telling the truth. You had 7 other eyewitnesses in the truck that saw the craft and the clearing off the road. They saw him hit with the beam, and of course they hurriedly ran off because they were scared. Then they decided to come back, and they looked and looked and looked and couldn't find him. Of course, the massive search put on by law enforcement and so forth went on, and he was gone for 5 days. And when he came back, he lost weight, and he was mentally confused and so forth. That's one of the best cases. There's no doubt about that.
And then the granddaddy of all cases, the Mecca of ufology, Roswell.
Yes, that's... you can't even mention UFOs without someone thinking about or talking about Roswell. Well, they have done everything they can to debunk that case. And, all those, what the aliens they say they saw were, dummies, and dummies that weren't even used till years after the case anyway. You know, didn't even use them at that time. But anyway, too many eyewitnesses. The last time I counted and looked up, there was at least 500 people who either saw the craft, saw pieces of the craft, or saw the alien bodies. That's a lot of people to say that every single one of them is lying about what they saw.
But isn't it isn't it also strange, Billy, that out of those 500 people, there still has been no physical evidence that has been filtered to the media to prove what the 500 people are saying?
Well, I realize that's true. But again, you know, the evidence that was there, you know how quickly they came in and literally vacuumed the ground to make sure that nothing was left behind, because they knew they had something that would be really change our whole public view if this information got out. And they have kept it secret. I think that's shortly thereafter is when the Majestic 12 was created. And I believe that through the years, as certain members either got old or passed away or so forth, that they would elect someone to take their place. And I don't know if they still call it the Majestic 12, but there is a group of men that control that evidence. And there's a case that is a lot like what they show in the X-Files, you know. You've got this group of men that, you know, highly paid, and they sit around and talk about all these things, and they know how to control information. That's what they do. And they either come up with something to explain away a certain thing, like the Roswell case, or try to discredit a witness or something like that.
Right.
You know, a couple of the witnesses came right out and said they were told that if you mention or tell anyone about what you saw, they'll be picking your bones up out of the sand in the desert. Yes, that's true. Eyewitness accounts that stated that publicly, even at a little later date, of course. They were scared to come out with it right then. You know, Mac Brazel was taken out to the base and kept a number of days, really against its will. And they said that after he had told his initial story, you know, he came back to town in a day or two with driving a new pickup truck and new clothes and stuff. And, you know, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. You know, he was blackmailed, really.
But what about?
He's not the only one.
But what about Jesse Marcel's actions, where, you know, he takes some of this evidence, puts it in his vehicle, and instead of returning back to the base to maintain the chain of evidence, he goes to his house, wakes up his wife, wakes up Jesse Marcel Jr., and lets them manhandle the evidence.
Yeah, that is true. That's kind of strange to me. I've always wondered a little bit about that. Unless he was just like a kid on Christmas morning or something, and he just had to share it with someone else, and of course he chose his immediate family.
But if that's the case, Billy, if that is the case, why didn't he keep some of the debris? Like, nobody would have ever known that he had taken a couple of pieces. No, so why didn't he... you know what I'm getting at?
I've wondered that since 1969, when the story really went public. I don't know why he didn't keep something. You know, I would have. I think almost anyone would have stowed a few pieces away somewhere and hid them. I do not know, unless he was that bent on, obeying orders and making sure that all the debris got back to the base eventually.
But that doesn't...
I don't know if he... No, it doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
It really doesn't.
No, because he could have easily taken the pictures himself in his house,
yes,
with his family, holding a newspaper showing the date. This guy is supposed to be the base intelligence officer, and from everything that we know about the case, he did nothing intelligent.
No, you're right. I have wondered about that, why he didn't do things differently. And then they flew him to Fort Worth and supposedly took fake pictures of some other stuff, balloons, that sort of thing. And see, at that time, he didn't say anything about that, though. He just went on and went back to Roswell as if those pictures were the real thing. And I guess he, at that point, was afraid.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I could figure, that he might lose his rank or get discharged or locked up.
Right.
Who knows?
But Billy, what do you think about the possibility of the debris being part of Project Mogul?
Well, I think that's possible,
Mm-hmm.
but there were properties of the different types of debris they took that just did not seem to match. It seemed to be above what our technology at that time could create.
Mm-hmm.
Metal similar to aluminum foil or something that you could wad up and it rolled back into its original shape.
Right.
I don't know. They may have that today, but they sure didn't back then. That was, to me, probably one of the most compelling parts of the debris. Supposed debris was, something that had those type of properties, which seems, of course, extraterrestrial to me.
All right, let's get away from Roswell for now, because I think you and I have both, over our careers in this industry, have kind of tired about talking about Roswell. But what is your opinion about the UFO photos that are being taken today?
Well, unfortunately, I'm kind of one of those old fuddy-duddies that think the older photographs kind of hold more credibility.
Yeah.
Because it is so easy today, if you've got a little money and buy the right software, you can take a picture of some landscape somewhere and add in a UFO, and it looks very real. And some of them are very difficult to even tell whether they've had something added to them or if it is an original photograph. Now, there are some pretty good photographs, though, that come out that I feel are real. Not a whole lot, but some. But you know what? I've always said this. All it takes is just one, really. If you've got one, there are others, too. It's not always easy to know which is real and which isn't. But some of them are real, and I think most people would agree with me on that. I really do. Of course, the same thing's true, even more so, of video today. You see a lot of stuff on YouTube, and we post a lot of it, and some of it I'm not sure about, but we just put up what we think would interest readers.
Sure.
And, let them comment on it if they'd like or so forth. But there's some very compelling film today. Well, it's not really film, it's digital.
Right.
And photographs, both that I feel are very intriguing to me.
Billy, what would you say the ratio is for material that you put on the site compared to the material that you just disregard?
We probably post maybe 1 out of every 50 reports
Wow.
that we look at. About 1 out of 50. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean that we think all the other 49 are fake. It's
right.
not that. We just try to find what we feel like are the best ones that may well be true, whether it's an eyewitness account or a photo or
mm-hmm.
video. Of course, people today love video.
Oh, they sure do.
The more videos you can post, the better, because they can see it with their own eyes. Otherwise you have to kind of imagine, when you're reading just a textual report, that someone saw what they thought was a UFO. Well, maybe, maybe not.
Interesting topic, Billy. It's great having you back on the show. How many hits does your website get in a month?
In a month?
Yeah.
Sometimes up to 1 million.
Wow.
An average day might be, 25, 30,000 or so.
It's an interesting topic. It's a great website. I love going there, Billy. Stand by, my friend.
I appreciate that.
You and I have to take our final break for this hour. X Zone Nation, the one and only BJ Booth is my special guest this hour. His website. It's a great website. I go there. I know many people who go there, and we're always happy to point people in that direction. UFO Casebook.com. And BJ and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as we wrap up this edition of the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, you can watch the 2015 episodes of the X Zone TV show at www.xzonetv.com. And you can listen to the X Zone 724 365 at xzoneradiotv.com. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. If you enjoy reading a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love From Out of the Woodwork by William S. Peckham. Sean Kennedy, a Toronto contractor, buys derelict houses, guts them, and turns them into multi-family dwellings. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, a century house in ruins, and starts the renovation, the house fights back. He is visited by ghosts of owners past. His visions are triggered by touching an oak mantle, reading a faded letter, opening an old locket, or opening a brand new casket in the basement. These visions will take you on a trip across southern Ontario from Niagara Falls to Toronto to Kingston. From Out of the Woodwork is now available in paperback and on your favorite electronic reader. To order your copy of From Out of the Woodwork, go to www.williamspeckham.com. That's www.williamspeckham.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Explanation, BJ Booth is our guest this hour. www.UFA, let's try this one again. www.UFOCasebook.com. And BJ, as I was saying during the commercial break, it's always great having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. What would you like to finish tonight with, and what is your final message for the X-Zone Nation?
Well, number one, I really appreciate you having me on.
That's my pleasure.
I used to do a lot of radio, but I don't much anymore. But when I saw your invitation, I jumped right on it, and I have appreciated it. I hope a lot of people listen into it. If they have any questions, they can contact me at webmaster@UFO Casebook, and I'll get the email, and I will reply.
All right, Billy.
I'll reply to all my emails.
Let me ask you this for our final question tonight.
Yes.
What, in your professional opinion, is the status of UFO investigations today?
Well, we still basically got two large reporting agencies. National UFO Reporting Center and MoveOn. Now, most any UFO website, though, that's credible will post a sighting, and if you have one, or if you think you've seen something, you can, of course, report to anybody, but we're always open to any reports that anyone would like to give us, and we'll certainly look at them and get back to you and ask you any questions we might have and try to fill in the gaps to make a really good report for people and see what happens. And if you, of course, we welcome any photographs or video that you might want to send in. And we have, of course, a lot of videos, not on just our site, I think 800,000 probably videos at least, and probably that many photographs or more. Although as the years go by, we're getting fewer photographs and more video these days than we used to. We rarely would get a video, and we'd get 6-8 photographs and maybe a video here and there. But nowadays it's about the opposite. So we don't post as many photographs on our site as we do video these days. But, we have video there. We've got it in Windows format. We also use Splash a lot. And we keep, a list of all our videos where you can go to a page that has nothing but videos on them. And the date and the title is listed on each one of them. You just click and go if you want to do that. And our main page, our index page, is color-coded, and the sort of orange titles, when you see that on any report, that's a video report. Now, there are some documentaries there, but we do carry video sent in by individuals or shared with other sites and so forth. So that way you can, if you just like video, it's real easy to do. Just scroll down and see the orange title, and there you go.
There you go.
Really
Billy, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to the next time you join us here on the X-Zone. And like I told you, if ever you've got a message to get out to the people, let me know. We'll get you right on.
I sure will do that, and I thank you very much for having me.
Good night, Billy.
Good night.
X-Zone Nation, Billy BJ Booth has been our guest, and I'll be back tomorrow night. So whatever you do, always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.